when you look out and you see these artists today, what do you think it takes for them to get to the next level or to push themselves to that next level?
Yeah, good question. I mean, man, it's so different. I feel like, man, it's a little bit easier. You know what I mean? But I do feel like the same thing applies of it's like it goes back to the Bible that you can tell that people by their fruit. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
people that's just here today, going tomorrow, like you can tell. And the
yeah.
people that are here to actually make an impact and actually have work ethic and actually, you know what I'm saying, really about this music thing, really about, you know what I'm saying, reaching people for God, like really about whatever your, you know what I'm saying, goals are, like you can usually tell that from the authenticity of what is actually going on in their life. You know
Yo,
what I
what's
mean?
going on? This is your man Ryan Righteous, and this is the Independent Artist Spotlight Special Edition presented by Next Level Provision, man. Trust God, God will provide. You know it. And I say special edition because the artist that I'm sitting down with is not independent anymore. He's actually been signed to a major label in the last 2 years, but has also been on other labels in the past. He's here today to give us some wisdom on how to get to that next level. Y'all make some noise for my brother, man. We grew up together, and I'm so proud of him and where he is. Y'all make some noise for Aaron Cole.
My story is about what happens when you keep going. I remember being in middle school and entering a talent show just knowing I had to win in the bag, only to end up losing. Had me feeling like the whole school was gonna think I was a fraud because how was the dude that tells us every day that he gonna make it out of here losing a talent show? But I kept going. A couple years later, I remember going on a promo tour with a couple guys that ended up turning into a group. I gave my all to this group for real, only for it to end in a year, leaving me feeling empty with really no direction. But I kept going. I remember being 15 and finally getting national recognition for one of my idols, only for that too to be short-lived. But I kept going. Then I remember my big break, signing to Toby Mac at 16, and my life changing forever. That's when the work really began. Was hearing people say, it's not gonna work. He can't rap and sing in this industry, he gotta pick one. To win a new artist of the year when most people thought there was absolutely no way. Was finally on his stride, and the whole world shuts down in a global pandemic. Was really thinking my dream was slipping away. God said keep going. Year by year, brick by brick, building, grinding, praying. It was all about the journey. I remember finishing my deal and people thinking it's over, people thinking I reached the peak, when I knew deep down that I hadn't even scratched the surface. So now signing a major record deal with RCA Provident Records. Who would have thought? Let's keep going.
My man, what's up, man? Thanks for having me, bro.
Man, listen, this is a blessing, man. You are blessing me. This is an honor. So many things, bro. Like everybody say happy birthday to Aaron in the comments, man.
Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate
Yeah.
it.
When I say brother, people don't probably know that we actually go back that far, meaning
Yeah,
I met you
yeah.
when you were 15.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, bro. 10 years, bro. That was 10 years ago.
Yes, it was.
Remember all those interviews, bro. I was super excited, man, just to be on Track Star. So
Yeah.
it's a
Man, we appreciate having you, man. You are definitely an inspiration to all of us in this space. And proud of your growth and proud of your just everything, man. Like just watching you go through this process, man, has been a blessing.
yeah,
So
bro.
so many times over, man. Gosh, first of all, you really don't need an introduction, but just tell everybody who you are, man, and what you do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm Aaron Cole. I'm from Bristol, Virginia. I started rapping when I was 3. I started singing when I was 7. And I say when I turned 12, that's when I really got serious about this music thing, and just hit the ground running. So that's when I started writing for myself. Because at first, my uncle and my dad was like writing for me and helping me. And like we were doing shows when I was super young. But when
Hmm.
I turned 12, like, you know what I'm saying? I grew up in church, but when I turned 12, like I feel like I got saved for myself, like got a relationship with God for myself. And I was like, man, this is what I want to do with my life. And I feel like this is what I was called to do. And so, man, it's been a long journey ever since then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From there, I was just making tracks, making albums in my hometown. And then when I turned 15, things just, you know what I'm saying, started spiraling and going up. But Yeah, man, it's been awesome. I first signed to, I mean, as you would know, some people in
Yep.
6 days know I signed to the Truth at first.
Yeah, mixed bag,
The
right?
mixed bag. That lasted for about a year or so, and then while that was going on, actually, I was getting inquired by a guy named Toby Mack, and I was there for about 5 to 6 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I just signed to Sony RCA. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's been a long journey, but that's what I'm saying. I'm super excited for what I'm saying, what's to come, and I'm grateful for the success that I've had so far, especially at a young age. It's like so it's been super awesome.
Yeah, man, listen, the last time your dad was on Track Stars, he told us a story that was wild, bruh. He told us about his training you up process.
Yeah,
It was like a boot camp for you, man.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
he said he had you going up hills.
Oh
Um,
yeah. So what happened was I'll what I'm saying, I'll give the real. So
mhm,
about when I was yeah, I think it was like 15. When I was like 15, um, I did a show. I never even told this part of the story before. I did a show at my high school, you know what I mean?
mhm,
And at the time, you know what I mean? Like I told you I got serious about my faith at 12,
yeah.
but I would say I hadn't been like discipled yet. So
Okay.
far as like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like my dad discipled me at this time, like 15, like when after this happened. So I hadn't been like discipled yet. I hadn't been like taught certain things yet. So I was in high school just doing my thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I feel like I wasn't wilding or anything like that. People knew I was a Christian, but I feel like I just wasn't set apart like that, if that makes sense. You know what I
It
mean?
does.
And
Hmm.
so I did this show, and honestly, when I got on stage, it was like some conviction. You know what I mean? It was some conviction, and I was just rapping, but it wasn't really no. I'll say some oil there. It wasn't no oil. And my
Okay.
dad, you know what I mean? He could tell. You know what I mean? So we had a conversation. He was like, "Man, you up there playing around, whatever." And he automatically knew because at that point, you know what I'm saying. My dad was super just tapped in. And so from that point on, it was like I had to wake up.
Hmm.
When I woke up, I would read my Bible. I would do my chores around the house. And then after I did my chores, I would have to go outside. So in Virginia at my house, and this will be in my documentary one day, but it
Yeah.
was we have a big old hill outside of our house, my old house that we lived in Virginia. And I would have to run up and down that hill while rapping my whole set. So I had like at that time I had a set like probably like 30 to 40 minutes set, and I would
Hmm.
run that whole thing while rapping it all. So I would rap the whole thing. I would do my talking parts, everything. I would do that while running up and down the hill. Then
Wow.
after I got done with that, I would stand on top of the hill in the street, and I would perform my set as if I was in a at a show. So
Yeah.
I would do that twice, and then I would go take a shower. Then I would sit with my dad, basically have a meeting every day, tell him,
Hmm.
and we'll talk about, what I'm saying, the word, talk about the scripture, talk about if I was on some foolishness at that time, talk about if I wasn't sweeping, you know what I'm saying? If I wasn't sweeping, sweeping good enough.
Ooh.
We just had a meeting, and so yeah, and that point we were just he was just molding me into being a man and being the man that I am today. But yeah, man, it was boot camp, bro. Like while that was going on, we was doing all that, but I could definitely tell the difference of like when I got on stage and even now, like just the reps that we have done and the boot camp that what I'm saying I went through. It's like, man,
Hmm.
it comes in handy now when I do shows, like, and I got to do them all the time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And so the crazy part about that story, man, is the fact that it seems like that's where you got your work ethic from.
yeah,
Because when I talk to your dad, he tells me that you like I remember having a conversation with him. This was years ago, and he was telling me about how much unreleased music you have.
yeah, so much.
You
I don't
know,
he got a lot of it. I don't even remember a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And so you have songs that you've written just off of, you know, it being a routine for you.
yeah,
Not that you were
absolutely.
putting out an album, not that you were putting out an EP or
Yeah.
thinking about, the next set you had to do. You were writing because you had to essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, after I would do the meeting, I would get straight to music. You know what I'm saying? I would do music, and for those people that are confused, I went homeschooled my junior year of high school. So that's what I
Okay.
would do. I would do all of this stuff, and then I would do my schoolwork, and then I would get straight to doing music. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I would write every day. I got, you know what I'm saying, a mic. I had the pantyhose pop filter at the time. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, man, it was like it was every day I was just getting to it. And of course, like just creating at that young of an age, like I was everything that I did, I thought was the greatest thing in the world. You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm.
But just as time went by and as I started getting molded by like Toby and stuff like that, like certain a lot of those songs just got pushed to the back. But it was like, yeah, creating songs every day for 3 or 4 years. It's so many songs that I don't even remember that my dad would bring up or my family would bring up, and I'll be like, man, I don't even remember that stuff. But
Wow.
like I said, like all of that stuff, man, it just prepared me for now to where I gotta turn in projects. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
if I wasn't doing that, it would a lot of people have a hard time like making music in a short period of time. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I kind of like some artists, like as they go on in their career, like it's not as good because they have to do it faster. You know what I'm saying? You have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the first album that you have all your life. That's what they say. You have all your life to make that first album. But after that first album, it's like, okay, you start getting successful. You have a short window of time to work on music because
Mhm.
let you not have a family. You got to spend time with family. You got to spend time on the road. Got to spend time promoting, doing interviews, whatever. So you have a short window now working on music. But for me, I've made it such a just a part of my thing. Like I'm still writing every day. I'm still making
Okay.
songs all the time to where it's like, oh, okay, like if we need a project or if it's time for another single, time for another project, it's so much stuff that I have. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's just the work ethic that you know what I'm saying, was molded with since I was young. So
Yeah, and so that makes me wonder that makes me ask the question or bring up the question, um, what does it take for when you look out and you see these artists today, what do you think it takes for them to get to the next level or to push themselves to that next level?
yeah, good question. I mean, man, it's so different. And I
Hmm.
sound old, but
Nah.
I'm only 25. But I feel like it's so different than when I was trying to get on to where I feel like, man, it's a little bit easier. You know what I mean? But I do feel like the same thing applies of it's like it goes back to the Bible. Like you can tell that people by their fruit. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
people that's just here today, going tomorrow, like you can tell. And the
Yeah.
people that are here to actually make an impact and actually have work ethic and actually, you know what I'm saying, really about this music thing, really about, you know what I'm saying, reaching people for God, like really about whatever your, you know what I'm saying, goals are, like you can usually tell that from the authenticity of what is actually going on in their life. You know what I mean? So I would just say, to answer your question, that was like a sidetrack, but to
Mhm.
answer your question, I do think the work ethic is still important because
Yeah.
that's how you have longevity. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it's one thing to um you know what I mean? Just drop music and have a moment. I've seen a lot of people have moments as
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, since I was 15. I've seen a lot of people be here and they be the hottest thing, but I have not seen them. You know what I mean? Like as years gone by, I haven't
Yeah.
seen them. And so I'm just grateful, man, that the work ethic and just working on your craft and being, you know what I'm saying, just being diligent with the music, being diligent with the preparation, being diligent with you know what I'm saying, the shows and not just taking shows for granted, like, oh, only the big shows is where I'm gonna give my all. It's like, no, like I just,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, I just did a show at a church. It was probably about 200 to 300 kids there, but it's like, man,
Hmm.
we treat those like the arenas. Like
Yeah.
after we get done, I'm still talking to my team like this is what we could do better. This is what, you know what I'm saying? We're dissecting the show every time how to get better. Cause you know what I'm saying? I do arenas. So when it comes to that, we don't want to get there and then have to, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
it all, you know what I'm saying, comes out. You can, like I said, you can tell by the fruit. And so that's what I would say, man. Man, make sure you are working on your work ethic, man, and just taking everything serious. Like
Hmm.
this is a serious calling, and I feel like this is a serious thing just to do music in front of people, and I wouldn't take it for granted. Like I don't take it for granted. I don't take the work ethic for granted. I don't take the music
Yeah.
for granted. And you know what I'm saying? I don't take the small details for granted. That's something that I was, you know what I'm saying, thinking about today. I was, you know what I'm saying, reading. Me and my homeboys are doing this Bible plan, reading the Bible in a year.
Okay.
And it was in Matthew where God was Jesus was talking about basically when he was saying like, oh, like y'all talking about committing adultery is wrong. I'm saying if you look at a woman, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That's adultery in itself. Like,
Yeah.
and the revelation that I just got was just kind of like, man, it's about the small things. Like, pay attention to the small things before it gets to that. You know what I mean? And I took that in
Yes.
everything. Like, all the small details matter. Like how you do the small shows, how you do the studio every day, how you
Mm-hmm.
do things that when people are not paying attention, you know what I'm saying, that's going to come out. And so yeah, that's what I would say. Pay attention to the small things.
That's really good. When it comes to your level of success, when people pull the curtain back, and even then you say you're gonna do a documentary, right?
Yeah.
Do people actually want to do that work, you think? Like if you talked about the boot camp and everything, do you think most people are set up to want to go that hard and to go and to say like, man, I want to be the next Aaron Cole, but you don't want the Aaron Cole story?
No, facts. No, facts. I think, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was getting at before I went into the advice of like, man, it's
Mhm.
so different now that people just feel like, oh, okay, like if I get good at social media, who cares about the music? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's the
Right.
thing now. Like if you know social media and you know how to get this in front of people, you know the right titles, you know the right whatever to do. You know what I'm saying? You could get your music out there. Now,
Hmm.
is it gonna have enough substance to carry you for years and years? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And most of the time, no. I've seen
exactly.
people being the coldest at social media. Like I want to hire you as my social media person. But when it comes to that music, it's like, or when it comes to what they see behind those closed doors, it's like, nah, you're not really working on this music. Like you're gimmicking the system basically. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so
How, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
no,
How
you good.
involved are you in the everyday process of your craft? Like I know you said I have a meeting with my team after the show, so you do
Oh
debriefing
yeah,
before you even go home. Like it
yeah.
seems like it's not just shows and creating music. You're literally sitting down and working these scenarios out before
Oh
you even get to that point of going to the studio, making
yeah.
the song,
Yeah,
performing
yeah,
the
yeah,
song.
yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's paying attention to the small things. So
Yeah.
like for me, I'm having calls with my DJ all the time, having calls with my drummer all the time. I'm just
Hmm.
like, man, like you could do this better, you could do that better, and I know I can do this better. I can do, you know what I'm saying? Like just
Wow.
like really paying attention to this stuff because you know what I'm saying? I want to give people like I want to give the people the best that I can give, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I want to inspire and I want to work in excellence. So it's like, yeah, anytime, like, there's a lot of things that probably happen on stage that the crowd doesn't know, but everybody on stage know, all my team know. And so afterward, we'll talk about it. Like, and it's not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not running like a crazy train, like where I'm
You
like,
know,
yeah, if this happens, I'm
yeah,
mad at you. It's just like, nah, we're talking about it. Let's fix it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question, like, yeah, I'm always doing that. I'm always like trying to pay attention to the small details, and even with the music, like we've been working on this new project for a
Mhm.
while now and just paying attention like man I don't like this snare or let's change this snare might open it up some or
Oh wow.
let's change this one line to make it you know what I'm saying feel more acceptable to people or let's change this one line because it's better for them to grasp or you know what I'm saying I'm even in a place now too like and I know I'm going on a rampant my bad
No, you're good. Go ahead. Mhm.
but I'm in a place now too where I've kind of been rethinking like um what what you know what I'm saying my purpose is in music like and I'll break that down and to say like I was at for a certain period of time I was super like yo like I gotta have the quadruple entendre.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
gotta have the craziest run that people have ever heard in their life. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And I feel like God just convicted me a little bit of just of like, man, like, who is it actually for? And if it's
Mm,
more to reach his people, if they can't get the quadruple entendre, what's the point? If I'm just getting it.
mm.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's like even paying attention to small things like that. It's like sometimes, of course, I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to make the best lyrics that I can, but I also want to reach, you know what I'm saying, the people that I'm supposed to reach. I want to inspire the people that I'm supposed to inspire. And so yeah, it's
Yeah.
like paying attention and always molding, always trying to get better. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's what I would say.
And how important is character in all this, right? Because you're experiencing things that a lot of people can't confidently handle.
Yeah,
When it comes to the fame, when it comes to the notoriety that you're getting, when it comes to being a man of God and carrying that torch and that mantle in
yeah,
front of the world. Like,
yeah.
how important can you tell artists that character plays into this?
Yeah. Man, it's everything for real. Like it's that if you don't have character, like it's gonna show quick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like because if I'm being honest, man, the I was gonna say the industry, but I feel like anything, like man, it's about relationships. And so like
Mhm.
I learned from Toby super early of like, man, treating the janitor like it's the headliner, treating the headliner, you know what I'm saying? Like treating everybody the same. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like that's something that I've really tried to stick to because I learned that from him. Even Torrin Wells, like I learned from them,
Hmm.
like of being like, man, like it's really important how you treat the person that's doing your lights. It's really important how you treat the person that's cleaning the arena after the show because you never know like who that person might be one day. You never know who that person, you know what I'm saying? Not even to say that, but just period.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you want to be the person that people like, oh man, like nah, I like that dude. Like he made me feel this way. Like I, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
that goes back to just being a Christian, not even just
Yeah.
trying to get on or anything. It's just like, man,
Yeah.
like as being a Christian, I want to love my neighbor. And so yeah, I just think it's everything, bro. Cause like you'll look up and if you don't have good character, like you'll be years from now, people just been like
Yeah.
bunch of bad stories about how you treated them, etc.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be that way. So I'm glad that I, you know what I'm saying, learned that lesson early because it really makes a difference, I feel like.
Yeah. And Aaron, the funny thing about it is like, I you have stewarded, your success so well to the point where, it doesn't rub off on a lot of people how successful you are. Like,
Yeah,
I was literally, I do my homework on all my artists, but I didn't have to do too much on you. But I did go through social media and just say, let me pull out some key points that I want to talk about, or if I get to that point where the
yeah,
conversation goes there, I'll know what he's talking about. But I was just listening to a setup that you did when you were talking about signing to RCA, and you
mhm,
talked about all the different things that you've done, being the Dove Artist of the Year, winning that award. And it's
yeah,
like there's a lot of people out there that are arrogant with no success, and you and your father have been able to like put together, you know I'm just Aaron Cole.
yeah,
And it's crazy because when I reached out to your dad about doing this interview, I was like watching the bubbles on the iPhone, like, oh, he's gonna tell me no. What am I gonna say back? Am I just gonna be like, okay, cool? He was like, nah, you family. We got you. We got you.
yeah,
We're gonna always treat track stars like family. Like y'all are always gonna get whatever you need from us. And I was like, yo, like I was expecting red tape. I was expecting, yo, I'm gonna have to hit you up after I talk to his manager and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, wow, like, it's a blessing to be in this position to be able to have these conversations with you. So I really appreciate it.
yeah.
And then the last question I want to ask you before I let you go is give some advice to artists out there that are they're looking for something in the world, or they're looking for something, but it looks so much like the world, it may not be good for them. Like
Mhm,
signing to all these different labels. I know you've been approached by pretty much every label, and
yeah,
the money chasing the bag and all that kind of stuff, and growing up through this and being young and having to like pretty much steward your manhood,
yeah,
and being afraid probably to make those mistakes in front of people.
yeah.
How do you give advice to somebody who's got the wrong idea about making it and being successful and also doing this for the Lord? Because we see a lot of that in this space.
Yeah. Good question. Um, I feel like for me, it's always funny because I can immediately tell when like somebody comes up to me and like they ask me about music or anything in that relation. Like I can always tell somebody that is like really like has like a mission and really has like a plan and a goal, and someone that just wants to get on.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And my team always just kind of like makes a joke because they be, you know what I'm saying, they'll try to hit them up to get to me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So they just kind of be like, man, like, can you get this to Aaron? And they'll just kind of be like, my dad has done this before too. Like just be like, all right, like what's your goal? Like, man, I just want to reach people for Christ. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, if that's your goal, you don't need Aaron.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, like, facts.
I hear your dad saying that. I
You know what I'm
completely
saying?
hear your dad saying that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is just like, man, like I just feel like you can always tell, like I said, you could tell people by the fruit. And so when you're getting into this thing, like, man, make sure you just have the right goals, the right aspirations. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, hey, I want dubs, I want Grammys, I want this, I want that. I don't think that's a problem. But I think
Hmm.
the soul, like your soul mission and your soul, like, you know what I'm saying, your goals, your inspire, whatever it may be, like just make sure that's in line before you try to, you know what I'm saying, try to make it, because it's like, man, you'll get over here and you just find yourself on a rabbit trail. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
It's always another level to reach. It's always
Hmm.
another, you know what I'm saying, thing to get. It's always a, so it's like, man, if I didn't have my clear mission of like, man, I want to inspire people, I want to reach people for God. Like if I didn't have that, I feel like, yeah, I would be in a totally different place right now, because
Hmm.
coming from a small town or where I come from, it's super important to me. That's why you hear it in the music all the time. I'm from Virginia. You know what I'm saying? We did this. We were sleeping on church floors. We was, because I want to
Yeah.
inspire other people. Like that's part of my mission. That's part of my goal. Like when I see kids and they say they want to be a rapper, I tell them stories because I'm like, that's part of my mission. But a lot of people, it's like they just want the dubs, they just want the Grammys. You can always tell that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can judge by its fruit. So yeah, man, like I'll just say, to answer your question, like
Hmm.
make sure you have a clear mission, make sure you focus on what that is, and like the other stuff is gonna come, just know like that
Hmm.
stuff is gonna come, like the all the things, like if you want to get signed, if you want to do whatever. My dad still says it to me to this day, my team, even my manager Devin, like I be
Hmm.
like, man, I want this or I want that, you know what I'm saying? I get into those moments, like I want, you know what I'm saying, I'm Grammy nominated, but I want to be a Grammy award winner, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Both
yeah,
of
yeah.
them, they'll be like, man, in the words of Irv Gotti, man, get hot.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Facts. You know what I mean? It's just
Hmm.
like, man, it's just like, man, like focus on what you got to do. That to break that down, it's just like, man, focus on what you got to do, make the music that you know what I'm saying, got to make, and all that stuff is going to come, basically. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So that's my advice, man. Just stay focused, man. Stay what we've been talking about this whole time. Work on your
yeah,
craft, work on your work ethic, pay attention to the small things, and all the things that you want and that you inspire and that you put in front of your face, like writing the vision, making it plain, like that stuff is gonna come, bro. Like you don't have to, you know what I'm saying, try to kiss up to anybody. You don't have to try to do this, that, and the other. You don't have to do, if you're thinking about it, you don't have to do it. All you gotta do is keep God first, seek him first, you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
get a clear mission. You know what I'm saying? If whether that's to inspire people, whether that's to, you know what I'm saying, reach people for God, whatever it is, stick to that, and the things, you know what I'm saying, that you want, it'll come with that, you know what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah.
What I'll say.
Man, listen, thank you, brother. You have given us some jewels, man. It's been a blessing. Hopefully, you'll be in Atlanta soon, where you can come back and visit Track Stars because we
For
miss you.
sure. We definitely got to do that for
We
sure.
miss you. We want to meet Amar. We want to see your wife again, man. So definitely would love to have you back. Let me give you this time to go ahead and share about how people can find you on social media and also what you're working on and what you want people to look out for. I saw you got a bunch of tours lined up for the summer. You probably in the spring and summer. You probably can't run that down, but just tell everybody where they can find you, what they should be on the lookout for.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me. I am Aaron Cole everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, all that is I am Aaron Cole. And then yeah, man, if you want to listen to the song right now, I just put out a project called Sorry I Changed,
Yeah.
and I put a small project out in honor of my son Omari. I just had my firstborn son, so that's new music that's out. But I'm definitely working on an all rap project, and I'm working on an all singing project right now. So
What? So two different projects?
two different projects. Yeah, so
Woo!
I'm rolling them out. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably gonna roll out the rap album first, and so yeah, man, that's what I'm
I,
working on right now. So be looking forward to that for sure.
I remember when I was at one of your video shoots that I was helping you with, and your dad told me, he said, I'll put Aaron's pen against anybody in the industry. And to this day, bro, I still believe that to be true. I
Man,
still have to believe
appreciate
that
it.
to be true. You know, I won't call any names out because you collaborate with a lot of these artists, but man,
For sure. I'm
that's gonna
honored,
be
bro.
exciting, man. Both projects sound like they're really dope, and we wish you nothing but the best success. And again, man, thank you for sitting down for doing the Independent Artist Spotlight with me.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you, man. Always family for sure.
Absolutely. All right, man. So listen, this is your man Ryan Righteous, the Independent Artist Spotlight, presented by Next Level Provision, man. Trust God, God will provide. You know it. And this is the Independent Artist Spotlight, and we out. Peace.
In the artist spotlight, okay. Making sure you shine bright, okay. Ryan Righteous, that's right, okay. Track stars too hype, okay.